215.
Hello, hashtag Verse TV family, and welcome. It's week 215. I'm Aaron Mack, here with my good friend and co host, Kevin, aka CBC Basic Complexity. And this week, I will start off with the significance of the number 215. So, starting off with 15, 15. I was 15 years old, freshman to sophomore summer in high school. So the end of freshman year going into sophomore summer, which is when Brandy and Monica released The Boy Is Mine. You know what? I always said The Doggone Boy Is Mine, but that's going way back to Michael Jackson and Paul McCartney's The Girl Is Mine. They're like, The Doggone Girl Is Mine. Anyway, I'm sorry. But yeah, so that in 2015, also, at 15 years old, and also the high school that I attended was none other than the illustrious McDonough 35 Senior High School in New Orleans, Louisiana. So that'll be your second five for y'all, okay? And yeah, all right. So, Kevin, Basic Complexity, take it away with the new song, my friend.
All right, the new song in it came with a new word, really, but it was by artists that I haven't heard in a long time. The new song is actually called Sincerely Jeffrey, and that's by Ja Rule. And just a quick side note for those of you that don't know, Ja Rule's actual name is Jeffrey. So J.A. are his first and last initials for Jeffrey Atkins.
I was gonna say, isn't his name like Jeffrey Atkins?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. This is so random. Everything I always think about, man, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie though. And maybe that's because I attached the name Jeffrey Atkins to him. But for me, like hearing the name Jeffrey Atkins, I'm like, ooh, that's a sexy man's name. Anyway, oh my gosh, whatever. But yes, okay. So for me and my oldish, well, no, anyway. But are you ready? Are you ready for my older-ish song? Older-ish song.
Let's
All
go
right.
for it.
So for me, it is none other than October 1997's. Wait a minute. Yeah, because I was like 15. I don't know. Forgive me if the numbers are mixed up. I'm pretty darn close. But I think that was my freshman year. And the second part of it. And the song is What About That by Janet Jackson from her Velvet Rope album. And that song, it's so funny because as far as Velvet Rope, I did not really get into it when it was new in high school. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, cool. And there were some songs that I loved, but I didn't get into everything. Like some of my friends also were those like Janet people. But outside of that, I didn't get into it that much. But through the wonderful magic of the wonderfulness of Google, that's not called Google Music anymore. See, that's showing my age. YouTube Music. Through the wonderful magic of YouTube Music playlist, they made a shuffle for me this weekend while I was out. And the shuffle included the song What About Us by Janet Jackson. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it was an up-tempo kind of shuffle. And that song is deep. And in the song, she talks about how she's walking with the man down the beach, and she says that he's like, oh, I really can do this with you forever. Would you like to get married? And she's like, but what about the times you smacked my face? What about the times that you said, what about the times that I said, stop, no more, please? What about the times that, and this is the particular line that really got me though, when she was like, what about the times you said you didn't fuck her, she only gave you head? And I was like, oh my gosh, Janet Jackson, stop. And I think about the guys that I interacted with in my early days. I must say this. I never, ever, 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 ever physically interacted with somebody who I was aware was connected to another person at all. I just don't play that. Now, I will say, some of the guys that I would deal with when I first started, I'd be like, hey, like, can we kiss? And they would straight up tell me, I don't kiss guys, I only kiss women. And I'm like, what? And they'd be like, yeah, but you can suck my dick. And I'd be like, what, again? And I would be like, imagine, after hearing this song, I'm like, what if, imagine a hetero-leaning guy talking to his woman and being like, I didn't fuck him, he only gave me head. I'm like, stop. Anyway, my time is up, y'all. I have so much to say. I'm just going on. But this week's topics are hashtag marriage ready, hashtag phobia leading, hashtag kid named, hashtag found love. Basic complexity. Are you ready to get this show on the road, my friend?
Yeah, it's good.
Hashtag marriage ready at Chisha Z, hashtag First TV 215A.
If you were married,
Okay.
10 years, kids, and then in the 10th year you get cheated on, are you leaving?
It depends on if he's showing me contrition or not. Why did this happen? Why didn't you talk to me? Was there a problem in our marriage, or is there a problem going on with you? Is this a midlife crisis? Is this something that I need to understand what's going on. But I do think that forgiveness is a major part of love. A lot of people don't want to admit that. Now, I'm not saying you need to be forgiving a dude every dang on day. You know what I'm saying? For something major, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to set your boundary lines and whatever your hard lines are. But I feel like I have learned throughout my life, because I've cut a lot of people off. I'm one of those people that's like, you did me wrong, you've hurt me, we're done. Number change, you're blocked. Yeah. And I've learned that that's not right. I've lost a lot of people, or I have just found myself very alone, because it's like, well, girl, somebody gonna hurt you once or twice, like including your mama and your daddy and your family members. Like, you're gonna be hurt by people, because people are not perfect.
So, Basic Complexity and I decided that I would get the honors of going first for every topic this week. So, I will say, first of all, this video is a prime example of what motivates me oh so much with hashtag Verse TV, to the extent that it's like to help. Because I know when I was younger, I did the exact thing that Keke Palmer is talking about right there. Talking about how she burned through a whole lot of people and being like, you did me wrong, you're blocked. You something else, numbers change, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh okay. And I wouldn't go quite through to the level of being like, I'm going to change my number and stuff. I'm not on the level that I feel that I need to do that, but I get what she's saying. And I would burn through people a lot. And sometimes it's good to talk with the person a little bit more about how you feel. I know that sometimes I would feel that, oh, well, if he doesn't know what it is and inherently know, then that means he's just not the man for me, period. Katy Perry told me so. Anyway, but also, yes, I will acknowledge that Keke Palmer is correct and ready for marriage. And yes. And I got this from church, y'all. My church explained that my pastor, who actually her last Sunday was this past Sunday, but she explained that she never liked the phrase, everything happens for a reason. She was like, but God can make reason out of everything. So with that being said, I do feel that even through all of my perhaps incorrect moves that I made at the time when I was younger, before 40. I'm 40 years old. 40 years old. I'm like Sally O'Malley with it. But yeah, before 40, all of those mistakes, I feel that I am in a right direction now, smooth sailing, and that's a beautiful thing. And I will say, and that's my connection. And yeah, God can make reason out of everything. Yes, oh my gosh. My 1 minute will be like 2, but I'm going to say, yeah, the importance of boundaries. Physical violence is always a no. And I'll save talking about her being a 93 baby and me being an 83. Kevin?
All right. I will say that after hearing her talk, I agree with her like 100%. And like no one on the face of this planet is perfect, and that's myself included. I'm willing to acknowledge whatever faults I may have had in the past. And well, really, the one thing that stood out to me was really with my first boyfriend, because in general it would be like, well, you did, like she said, you did me wrong, Pace. But no, that time I did it wrong, and I more or less, I was 18 and kind of cheated, but I told him myself, and I was going through it, but he actually forgave me, and we've been cool ever since.
I must acknowledge, and you all were both 18 at that time, huh? Around the same age. And the fact that he
nah, his birthday is actually before.
Okay, looks like you went out. But yeah, I'll give him credit for the fact that even at that young age of y'all, that he
Right.
actually had the mindset to forgive someone and the importance of forgiveness. So hats off to him for that.
Yeah.
And that for forgiveness, because, and I'll segue into my 1 minute and say, for not being outside of stuff like physical abuse. I think physical abuse should always be a no questions asked.
That's
Period.
ultimately no go.
Exactly. And that leads to what she's saying about needing boundaries. So it's like, yes, forgiveness is important. Boundaries are also necessary. Now, I'll also say this. Keke Palmer is a 1993 baby. I'm 83. So when the guy asked her the question about 10 years into a marriage, what would you do? And she's like, well, I mean, it depends, I guess. Well, actually, no, she didn't say that. She said forgiveness is important, but, and I'm like, well, 10 years for her would be 40. So I guess, there's more of a chance of making a thing worth pursuing, while 10 years for me will be 50. So it's like there'll be less of a but. But again, less of an opportunity for a but. But physical violence is always a no, period. End of discussion. End of discussion. End of discussion. And did you want a 1 minute or can I take your 1 minute?
Go for it.
So I was going to reference Keke Palmer's being a really good, Keke Palmer is an exceptional actress. And I believe what she was saying right there was sincere. Nevertheless, being an exceptional actress, she understands the importance of vocal variety when delivering what you're saying to be more impactful. To speak like that, to have sort of ups and downs and stuff. And she did that very well. And it reminded me, it made me think of being a gay man. Made me think of the classic gay movie that my mommy showed me when I was a young, when I was in high school, Mommy Dearest. When Mommy Dearest, Joan Crawford, played by Faye Dunaway, was talking to the guy that she was trying to make something with. And the guy was like, well, if you're acting, Joan, you're not doing anything for me. And Joan Crawford was like, but I'm not acting, and I believe when people are really good actresses and actors, that they just naturally have a way of delivering lines that it might sound like they're acting, but they're really sincere with what they're saying. And I believe Keke Palmer was really sincere with what she said. Anyway, physical violence is always a no. Pow, period.
Right.
End of discussion. Now, my one sentence I will say is age can play a role in maintenance of our values / convictions, but physical violence equals no, period. You don't want to, you don't want to die. And because it can come to that, but you don't want to die. And if you do, if you are unfortunately at the point that you're like, you know what, that you feel that you don't care if your partner kills you or not, then please seek help. Please get help. You don't deserve, not only do you not want to die, you don't deserve to be killed by an aggressive spouse who needs to learn how to deal with stuff, needs to learn how to control his or her temper. Because I still remember, and I'm sorry, we're doing things a little differently this week, but I still remember the guy on, I think I was watching Marriage Boot Camp, and he is the one who came out on some program, and he's like, yeah, I'm actually bi. And his wife hates him or has such disdain for him now, she beats him. And it just happens. And he was on the show and he was like, yeah, she beats me. And she's like, damn right I beat your fucking ass. So yeah, guys and gals get beaten or have the potential to get beaten. I'm sorry, you're going to say something?
Not just that I'm agreeing with everything you said.
And that's
also, sorry. But a lot of males in those type of situations don't even want to speak up.
No. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Family question for the hashtag VerseTV family. Yes. See, I like that look on your face, Kevin, because you're like, yeah, I know that as well. So yes, thank you. So I'll say 10 years into a marriage, do you have any non-negotiable for yourself to exit and quit the marriage? Why? Or why not? I'm acting like Keke Palmer. I'm delivering with vocal variety. Anyway, okay. So our next topic.
Hashtag phobia leading at Jamie.Dodger at Rory Scovel. Hashtag VerseTV215B.
Us tonight to pray for the homosexuals. Where's this joke going? Is this a joke? Lord, help us tonight to pray for the homosexuals. People so bold, so brazen. They chose a rainbow flag to signify their struggles and their accomplishments, knowing full well that the people who hate them have always hated colors.
Any company that has ever shown any form of support for the LGBT plus community, including the very minimal support of a change of logo, oh my goodness, is the list long. Many of the companies I'm about to list have also actively supported the LGBT plus community. Transphobes and homophobes should be careful when buying any kind of tech, using a credit card, buying a car, buying clothes, watching any kind of sports. Oh, and they can pretty much forget about using any form of social media except maybe Twitter right now. You want to get an Uber? No. What about Lyft? Nope. You want to listen to some music? How about Spotify? Nope. Apple Music? Nope. Oh, and Deezer. But what about taking a flight somewhere? You want to go on holiday? You can forget about Virgin Atlantic, American Airlines, Qantas, British Airways, and many, many more. So honestly, go ahead, transphobes and homophobes, boycott any and all brands that have ever shown support for the LGBT plus community. You will soon be left with no social media, no tech, and just eating Chick-fil-A with other transphobes.
Talk about it, brother. Now, I will say, because again, I'm going first, and my initial reaction is xenophobia can bleed. And it can bleed transphobia, homophobia, racial phobia, all sorts of phobias. Just being trans or being xenophobic can bleed into other things because it's like not wanting to learn anyone can lead to not wanting to learn more stuff. Wanting to stay unaware can lead to wanting to stay unaware about a lot of things. And that can be trouble. And I'll acknowledge the second guy made a really good point when he talked about, I actually caught how he mentioned took the time to differentiate between trans and homosexual people because the two are not the same. We are communities with similar struggles, but not every trans person is homosexual. And that's just true because, and it reminded me of the show Soap years ago, the old soap opera called Soap, when the gay character on Soap was talking with his football player boyfriend, and they were having difficulty, and he was like, you know, I was thinking maybe what I'll do is I'll change my gender to a woman so we can be together in public. And it's like, wow, that's a difficult situation. But I've actually had a guy that I dated years ago. I was 26, 27. He was 20, 21. He's an 89 baby. And he actually, because church had gotten so into his in a problematic way, right? I'm a churchgoer, right? I love God Almighty, you know, and all of that. Nevertheless, there are people out there or churches out there who get people like really messed up in the mind in a lot of ways. And I remember him saying to me that he was like, yeah, you know, I thought maybe in order to have us have a heterosexual relation, not us, but me and a man have a heterosexual relationship, maybe I will transition to being a woman. And it's like, golly, no. Anyway, basic complexity, and I'll finish in my 1 minute. Hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, more so like it was kind of saying in a situation like that where said person, whoever, wants to change their sexuality so their relationship could be acknowledged is trouble on so many different levels. It's like you have to accept yourself for anything. And yeah, if you're willing to do that, then you could go somewhere. That's what I have.
All right. Yeah, you know, as far as going all the way back to what the second guy was talking about, companies being pro-rainbow is a good thing, in my opinion. Companies putting rainbow flags on their logos is a good thing to the extent that it shows that if it's something profitable, that means that, okay, it's something that the public feels positively about. So I feel that's a good thing that we're at that point, that even businesses being greedy in their pursuits can see that as a way to make money because they see that it's profitable to be gay friendly in many circles. And it's like, okay, that's a positive thing. Now, don't speak about it, be about it. Don't speak, I know this, but don't speak about it, be about it. And I acknowledge that I thought it was super cool how Zach Noe Towers, I LUV some Zach Noe Towers, talking about how he's like, I love my corporate sponsorship stuff. I love my city. He's like, I love my Citibank butt plugs. You know, I'm so sorry. That's hilarious. But people with it's even more funny now. But do you want a 1 minute before I read my one sentence? Actually, I'll read my one sentence now. My one sentence is: people, please know you are not on Earth alone. Earth is not homogeneous. And dare I say, our learning to coexist is in divine order. Love wins. Hallelujah. Kevin, your one sentence.
My one sentence is just to, I guess, learn to accept yourself and others for who they are. Things change, people change. Just be willing to accept it. And that's it.
All right. And our hashtag Verse TV question for the hashtag Verse TV family is: when did you realize that trans does not equal homosexual? It was a few years ago for me. And a trans woman with a cis man equals a heterosexual connection. So it is what it is. Now, trans women can get with cis women, and that is a homosexual connection. Anyway, y'all get it. Y'all get it. Basic complexity, are you ready for the next topic?
Yeah.
All right. And share, subscribe, and share again. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Hashtag kid named at onlinekind. Hashtag VerseTV215C.
Pride flags have no place in schools. Stop trying to force your sexual ideology onto kids. But I knew I was gay when I was 11, and kids were teasing me for it since I was like 8. If that's young enough to have some awareness of gay people, don't you think schools should teach kids that it's okay to be different and that it's not okay to bully people for it? But that's up to parents, okay? How about we let parents raise their kids and let school be a neutral ground for all beliefs? But schools should also take a stand against bullying, and that's what the pride flag is. To me, seeing a pride flag is like knowing that there's somebody here at this institution that sees me as human and is gonna have my back instead of telling me that I'm a freak or I'm going to hell. And that is exactly my problem. I don't want my kids to go to a school where they teach that being gay is okay. I'm raising them with a different belief system, which is that God hates fags and that you are the devil incarnate, and also that we need to eradicate people like you by any means necessary. And you're not allowed to say that that's weird because it's my religion.
Okay, it looks like it cut off the last word, but technically she said you're not allowed to say that that's weird because it's my religion. Losing my religion. Anyway, but she said you're not allowed to say that's weird because it's my religion. So my initial reaction is this is one of the best explanations that I've seen for why it's good to have rainbow flags in different places or other types of gay representation in other places, along with all of the other forms of representation in the world. Okay? And it made me think of the fact that, yeah, you know what? When I was a kid too, other kids would call me gay, you know? So to be like, my kid's not old enough to know about stuff like that. Yeah, but somehow they know about enough of it to call another kid gay. And maybe it's just because around the house, you can stand to raise your children differently. But perhaps it's because you speak of gays so negatively around the house. That's how they got their familiarity with the word. But they're going around calling kids like me gay. And also, kids often kind of know. They kind of know. They're often kind of correct. Not always, not always. I know examples of heterosexual dudes who grew up and are totally heterosexual sincerely, and kids used to call them gay because kids are stupid, or kids can be stupid. I'm sorry, kids can be anyway. But I say, imagine rainbow flags in school, and imagine us getting to the point that kids on the schoolyard no longer see calling somebody gay as a put down. You know, it's just like, oh, gay. It's a thing. Like everything else is a thing. And that's where we should go, ideally. And just another way to live. And yeah, limiting bullying is important because bullying can equal murder.
It can.
And if not from the bully itself, from the kid who goes home super depressed and commits suicide. Yeah. Anyway, now, okay, I'm divided on this. I will say it is an ignorant division of mine, but I do acknowledge that people, maybe it's the little bit of libertarian in me, but I feel that people do have the right to believe whatever religion they believe. And if your religion is like gay is wrong, God help your children, please. I feel nevertheless you have a right to do that, you know? And we shouldn't change that or no, I wish we would change it. Anyway, speaking of change, basic complexity, time for somebody else to change to talk. And then I'm going to come back with my 1 minute.
Wow. Yeah, definitely draw a blank. But in general, yeah, people all over the world have different mindsets. And it's like, if you don't agree with it, move on. And nobody stopping you.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Nothing on the flag.
As I personally have never had an issue with the flag. I don't see nothing wrong with it at all. Like if said person has an issue with it, that's you. Do your thing over there.
All right. So yeah, I'll say, and maybe it's ignorant of me, and I'm even gonna backpedal a little bit with what I said about whatever your religion. Now I feel that again, I stand by my God help your kids if that's your perspective, and I feel that's wow. I wish that we would all learn to live love. Learn that we're on this beautiful roundish ball in the universe, all connected together with different backgrounds, but we're all connected. We need to learn that. And I also acknowledge maybe the libertarian thing has difficulty working in the grand scheme of things, because it's like, I can say that you have the right to believe what you believe, but if what you believe is that I don't have a right to believe what I believe, that's a problem. So we need to learn that everybody is a little bit different. Children can grow up to be a little bit different. Know that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Now, I will say, yes. Oh my gosh. This is the one sentence. Is it that you really care to see me in your heaven with you? Or is there kind of an ulterior motive as to why you're like, we need all gays to not be gay? Is it because you want to see me in heaven with you? Or is there possibly something else behind that? Is complexity your 1 minute? Your one squared?
Yes. Wow. I don't even recall what I was going to say. Yeah. As I believe I said it before, everyone is different, and in general, we all need to acknowledge that and accept it. Like, if someone is, and obviously not speaking on myself, but if someone else in your, not even gonna say in your circle, someone else that you've come in contact with is gay, then let them be gay. They don't care, so why do you? That's what I
I must give you a shout out for your little piece of Kiki Palmer delivery right there, to the extent that you put that vocal variety in your delivery, because you were like, if somebody's gay, then let them be gay. I'm like, yes, you better. All right, Kevin. Anyway, they ain't ready for you anyway. The hashtag Verse TV family question for the family is, where do you feel that we would most benefit to have more Q plus representation? That's the hashtag Verse TV family question. Where do you feel that we would benefit to have more Q plus representation? Citibank butt plugs? I'm kidding. I'm sorry. That was just Zach Noe Towers is hilarious. It's like, I love my Citibank butt plug. Anyway, I'm sorry. Let's go on to the next one. Share, subscribe, and share again. And share again. Thank you.
Hashtag found love at Jacked App. Hashtag Verse TV 215D. Text. In June 2016, Marlon relocated to Tampa and found his way to Jacked, where he connected with David. They chatted for weeks before meeting in person. Despite Marlon being fashionably late, their first date turned into hours of captivating conversation. The next day, David left for Dublin to see Beyoncé's Formation World Tour, with Marlon dropping him off at the airport that morning. They stayed connected during David's trip, and upon his return, their love blossomed even more. Now, they celebrate 7 years together. Proud plant and dog dads to Carmel Darian, their adorable brindle-coat boxer bulldog mix.
All right, Carmel Darian, yes. All right. So, my initial reaction is the same as my connection, of course. And one, I feel that Jacked is excellent on so many levels. I love the company in general, yes. And they're bucking the stereotype of gay equaling just sex. No, you know, it can be much more. And there was something else I was going to shout out, but I don't recall right now. Maybe I'll remember later. But as far as the app Jacked, it's not a hookup site. It's not. There are people you will talk with on it, and there was a time that I used to just accept what they said. Just, oh, okay, okay, really cool, you know? And it's not just a hookup site. It's not that. And honestly, when you go and download the app, it says it is a gay chat and dating app. It is whatever you make of it, whatever you make of it. So if you make it a sex app, then it is that. But know that if you want something more, you're the one who's making yourself miss out on more. Because clearly there are people like those guys who are getting more from Jack'd, because that post said hashtag met on Jack'd. They met on Jack'd. Anyway, I will say that part of the struggle was our early 2000s dating. Since back in the day, when it was Yahoo Instant Messenger, Adam for Adam, Men for Now, remember that one?
Yes.
And it's like, a lot of it comes down to gay perception in media. And in the early days, even those apps, while they might have been pitching towards sex and possibly not, either way, gay people, we have such a sexual view in media, almost as if that's the only thing that we do. But really, I get it, because the media does that, because that's the only thing that separates us from heterosexuals, being homosexual. But anyway, your time, I'll finish in my 1 minute.
And yeah, I do agree with that. Definitely for homosexuals in general, yes, we have been painted with a very, very broad brush. And or actually, I'm not even going to say broad. We've been painted with a single color brush. And it's just assumed that we're all one way and that's it, which is so not true. And like, just speaking on myself, really, I was, well, technically born in the South. So I have kind of like somewhat Southern values as far as wanting to be married, have sort of family, have kids, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's just every gay person is not the same. We're not all about sex, which is annoying. That's what I have.
I will say this, an interesting point about my move to Ohio from Maryland. Now, Maryland is the old line state, so technically all of that is down south, my friend. But yeah, moving to Ohio, it's like, it seems like a lot of people, even the same gender loving people, are more long-term minded than perhaps hookup minded on the East Coast that I had grown accustomed to. Anyway, but yes. So my 1 minute, whoops. Yeah, I remember back in the days of Men for Now, Yahoo Instant Messenger dating, stuff like that. I remember this one dude I went on a date with, and I was sleepy at the time of the date, but he was at my door. He showed up at my dorm. This was during my thought days, sexual exploration days, trying to find my way days. he showed up at my house. He's like, hey, I'm downstairs in front of the building. And I was like, I'm sleepy. I'm not ready for a date. But okay, I guess I have to do it because he is somebody who I hit up looking for some hastily delivered fluids, as they say. And I started falling asleep in his car, and he like tapped my leg. He was like, get up. You still have work to do. And I felt so cheap when he said that. And I said I would never let myself get in a situation like that again. And that's part of the reason that I am so passionate about hashtag Verse TV, because people need to know. Oh, also, I wanted to say, if you don't mind my taking a little extra time to bring this up.
Go for it.
What I discussed with you yesterday about the fact that I get it. They named their dog Caramel. I forget the second part of the name, but the first part was Caramel. And it's like, okay, I get it. They're both Caramel brothers. So of course they want their dog to be called Caramel something. And when you look up the dog, anyway, but them calling that dog Caramel made me think of how much you seem to like the group City High. And like when we bring it up, I'm always like, okay, City High is cool, but I don't think of them that much like that. They're cool from their time. And you're like, no, City High. And I'm like, okay. And then I remembered, oh, you know what? I bet it's because of that song Caramel. Because Kevin sees himself as Caramel. He's Caramel. And he sings the song, the 5 and brown eyes, smile like the sunshine. And what I said to you yesterday, because I discussed this with you, I was like, I bet that you were that guy who put stuff like that in your profile, calling yourself 5'5" with brown eyes, caramel complected, and it's like, that's so interesting because you are 5'5". You're 5'5".
I really am. I know that.
You're 5'5". Yeah, and that's what you were saying yesterday. You were like, yeah, back then I was thinking I was like 5'7". I'm like, okay, yes, but you're 5'5". And I'm like, I bet that's why Kevin loves that song. And he probably put it in his profile. But you say you didn't.
No.
But you admit, if you knew that you were actually 5'5" way back then, you probably would have quoted that song in one of your profiles back then, huh?
In all honesty, I probably would have made some little hint to that.
Yes, thank you for admitting it, friend. Thank you for admitting it. Because, yes, I was like, I bet Kevin put that in his profiles back then. 5'5" and brown eyes. But like I said, you were thinking that you were 5'7".
Right.
Anyway, my one sentence, and then you can say whatever for your 1 minute and speak to that more if you wish or whatever. But my one sentence, don't project your wants onto people. If you just want sex, say that. If you want a relationship, say that. The problem is people don't want the problem is people want different things from different people. Yes. And can't be honest about it. So on your profile, you'll be like, I want a loving relationship, but you won't connect with that other person who hits you up. So you'll be like, yeah, I'm just kind of on here like, I'm not looking for a relationship though. I'm just looking for some D or some A or some. You didn't fuck him. You only gave him head. Anyway, also, if you don't mind, please let me go all the way back to the first time to that song. I was like, it would be amazing if a heterosexual man was like, if a woman had to tell a heterosexual man that part of your excuse was you didn't fuck him, you only gave him head. It's like, wow, that's a lot. Anyway, basic complexity, you're one squared.
Well, so lost where I was.
Did you want to say anything else about the caramel complexion thing or the jacked dating experience? Your jacked dating experience?
As far as
We actually met on Jacked.
I'm sorry?
Ooh. Our friendship started from Jacked. And I'm sorry, that just arbitrarily popped in my head. But yes, that's how our friendship began. Anyway, oh my gosh. I know, I just
no, that's fine. I don't care.
verbal diarrhea, whatever. Yeah. But Jacked is a chat app. And we were chatting on Jacked. Anyway, as friends. But go ahead.
Nah, as far as going back to the whole thing about caramel, that was like I said, I had said that at the time, but I didn't believe that I was 5'5", but of course my butthole friend, who I call my big brother, he is a cop, so he has measuring tape. And yes, all right, he called me out on it and got my height, and he was like, "Nope, you're 5'5". It's like, wow, thanks, a-hole.
You called him an a-hole?
I ain't say that to his face.
Stop it. 5'5" is wonderful, Kevin. Please accept it. Love it. You're 5'5".
Accept it now.
Mm-hmm.
But
5'5" and brown eyes. Huh?
back in my 20s, no, I ain't accept that.
Okay. Well, I would say we are 30-something now, but as of a few days ago, I'm no longer 30-something. But yeah,
Fine.
I'm 40.
39. I accept that.
You've got a long way to go to 40, mister. Stop it. Stop. With your 5'5" self.
Actually,
I'm messing with you.
To be technical, I am 39 and a half as of a few days ago.
You are 39 and a half.
Yes.
You December babies love that December stuff. I spoke with an Uber driver some time ago who was a fellow 83 sister, and she was also a December baby. And I was like, yeah, my co-host / friend, he loves talking about how whenever I mention a year, he'll be like, yeah, for the majority of that year, I was only 6 instead of I turned 7 at the end of that year. And it's like, mm-hmm. And she said, yeah, I do that same thing. I'm like, I know that's right. Okay, yes. Anyway, y'all December babies. And see, you got me into the habit of being like, differentiating, being like, well, that was the year that I turned 15.
Right.
Anyway, but yes. Oh,
So,
right.
I was born 83, almost 84, but still 83.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I
You d-
acknowledge that.
Mhm. For whatever that's worth, right? Very little. It's worth very little. Anyway, I'm kidding. So, the question for the hashtag VerseTV family before we go into our closing, and yes, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, look at that battery. Okay. So, what's been your best relationship experience that started online thus far? Romantic, platonic, anything. And that's the hashtag VerseTV family question. Now, we're at the closing. I'm Aaron Mack. You can find me, AARONMCK, at BERSTEAB.com. And we're all over social media. Hashtag, and see, I'm trying to multitask before this shuts off battery. Hopefully, I get it. Time will tell. Time will reveal. Made it. Let me see what percentage. Yeah, I was good. I am good. Okay. So, yes. Hashtag VerseTV. We're all over social media and the website BERSTEAB.com. Basic Complexity, where can we find you, my friend?
And
Now, it's my Basic Complexity for Twitter, oh my God. No, it's my Basic Complexity for TikTok.
right.
And where else can we find you?
Wow. You said on TikTok. Also on, and all right, I can't look up the places now, but it's two other places. Really, for the life of me, I cannot remember what they are. I'm really drawing a blank.
Basic Complexity at Basic Complexity for Instagram. And last one, Basic Complexity at VerseTV.com, your email.
Yes.
2 words, and do what with them?
All right. So, well, first off, hopefully you all know how to spell. All right. So just take the word basic and the word complex today. So spell those, put them together, no space, and that's it. So yeah, that's the screening basic complexity. And yeah, definitely on say Instagram and the other one on. Wait, you said it's my basic complexity. Is that TikTok?
That's TikTok.
All
Yep.
right. So what's the other one I can think of?
Third one is your email.
Okay, so that one is basic complexity at firsttv.com. And that's what I have this for.
All right. So I am going to turn off YouTube so we can go into our music. And we have some special music for you. and it's only on Twitter and Facebook. And yeah, Twitch. But yes. All right. But we don't want YouTube to cuss us out, so we have to turn off YouTube. You didn't fuck us, she only gave you head. I'm sorry, that is a hilarious, well, not hilarious, but, and I didn't, can I take a minute?
Go for it.
Well, I did kind of go into my explanation about dudes being like, I save my lips for women. I quickly started being like, if you don't kiss at the beginning of the date, I'm like, or at the beginning of the session, I'm like, if you don't kiss, we ain't doing it. I'm not gonna let you be like, I don't kiss men, but you can suck my dick. Please. Please. Anyway, nevertheless, now I will say this. My heterosexual best friend, he is like, I asked him his philosophy on kissing women, and he's like, I don't kiss just anybody because mono is a real thing. And he's like, I don't like that. I'm like, ooh, got me feeling all kind of like, ouch. Like, as much as I love to kiss, I do not love the idea of mono. So that's a no for me. Anyway.
A little bit, not intentional, but it was a tidbit of a little.
Huh?
I said not intentional, but it was kind of a tad bit of a little blow.
Speaking about mono?
Well, people saying like I won't kiss anyone.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, dudes used to be wild. I don't kiss you. I save my lips for women. Anyway, all right, let's get this on the road. Share, subscribe, and share again, please, and thank y'all.